FPL Game Week 37 team selection. There's a deadline later today at 6 o'clock UK time, so there's quite a bit to go through in terms of transfer plans. But in today's video, we'll be going through a review of how my Game Week 36 went, and also my team selection for Game Week 37, including the captaincy. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe, and let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where arrows go green, and as you can see, they went green again. Yep. Just 2 points above the safety score, which just goes to show that every single point matters, because of course if we got 3 points less with 58 points, we would be on a red arrow right now. So good showing from everyone. Of course it didn't get off to the best start, because I actually had Burns 11 on the bench before anyone else had played, which was not great. But it just turns out I should have benched gvardiol away to Southampton, because Munoz and Wan-Bissaka both did the business against Tottenham and Manchester United respectively. Of course, Emi Martinez kept his clean sheet as well, which was great. Captain Mbuma didn't blank, but he didn't get any bonus, but you know, it's better than a blank, of course. Salah continues to flop, basically. Bowen's ticking away quite nicely. De Bruyne managed to not get an attacking return against Southampton, which is kind of surprising, but we got his points last week, so I can't be too upset about that. And then the front line just completely misfired. Mateta didn't make it to the 60th minute mark yet again. Isak didn't do anything, and then Cunha managed to get 0 points in his first week back in the team, which is not a great showing, so he owes us a few points. And then the rest of the bench actually returned as well, Rodgers and Konza. So got a lot of strength and depth, which is what we're going to need, because I'm not planning any transfers this week. As you can see, I'm actually tripled up on Aston Villa already with Martinez, Rodgers and Konza. So the popular Watkins won't be happening for me this week. And I also don't think he's worth taking the -4, given that I don't think I would captain him personally. So here we'll talk about my team selection. Into the team selection, and as mentioned, there is no transfers this week because I want to roll and arrive in Game Week 38 with 2, which I think is a bit more exciting. So I'm going to swerve Watkins. Of course, I know he's going to be the most popular transfer in this week, so I'm going to be wishing you all the worst and hate watching. But his teammate, Emi Martinez, can start my team because I already own him. And Aston Villa have actually kept 5 clean sheets in the last 8 game weeks, so that's a major improvement over the season. They've kept 8 clean sheets in total, and 63% have arrived in the last 8 game weeks. So hopefully Emery's taken a more cautious approach to, you know, just see out the wins and get the job done. So we won't have high scoring games, and hopefully all the Watkins owners will be mudded. But probably should consider starting Konza in that vein. But I don't want to put all my eggs in the Aston Villa basket at the moment, but maybe I should just back it. Especially as Munoz is going to be playing 3 days after the FA Cup final. Of course, we don't know how the FA Cup final is going to go, but he's just so attacking, so that's why he's starting at the moment. But maybe I should just be boring and start centre back over the flying wing back. So I'll give that more thought. gvardiol has been at the heart of a much improved Manchester City side. They've kept 5 clean sheets in the last 7, which is obviously an improvement on Aston Villa's current form. Their hosting of Bournemouth is somewhat of a must-win, given that 6th placed Villa are just 2 points behind 4th placed Manchester City, and 7th placed Forest are just 3 points behind 4th placed Manchester City. So given that there's top 5 for Champions League, Pep will know that the Racing Pack are hot on their tails and they cannot afford to drop points in any game. So let's see what happens there. Aaron Wan-Bissaka followed up his assist and 2 bonus in Game Week 36 with an assist, a clean sheet and 3 bonus in Game Week 37 during his return to his former employers Manchester United. The Hammers now face a Forest side going off the rails at the worst possible time for them, given that they've been in the top 4 for most of the season. If you count from the last international break, so 7 game weeks ago on the 1st of April, Nottingham Forest rank 2nd bottom for XG generated in the entire league. So only Southampton have actually accumulated less XG going forward. And they also rank in the bottom 3rd for defensive metrics, with only Leicester and Ipswich conceding more than the Tricky Trees in that time period. So very happy to own Wan-Bissaka for not only this week, but next week when West Ham travel to Ipswich. It appears that Salah is going for the assist record, having forced a few passes in decent shooting positions recently, especially against Arsenal, and he's had a few crosses that have gone begging by a few red forwards, to be fair. Looking at you, Darwin Nunez. But Brighton away isn't the best fixture, especially that Brighton kind of do need to win to have any chance of finishing 8th in case Manchester City do win the FA Cup and get them Europe. But I have no plans to sell, that's for sure. They host a Palace side that will be on the beach on the final day, and it's going to be the last act before the Reds lift the Premier League trophy in front of their fans as well. Brian Mbeumo has 5 returns in the last 4 game weeks, so that's actually better form than the flavour of the week, Ollie Watkins, who's got 4 returns in the last 5. And no player actually has more FPL points in home matches this season, which is level with Cole Palmer. So given that Fulham have just 1 clean sheet from their last 12 away games, and the fact that Brentford have won 4 games in a row, and they're currently 8th, I'm going to be backing the team that scores a lot of goals at the moment. So he's my captain. Kevin De Bruyne is set to play his final game at Etihad Stadium as he leaves Manchester City at the end of the season. So I'm actually quite confident of a start here. You'd expect that he'd want to give his farewell to the fans after, 10 years, I believe. So yeah, given that this is a game not to be taken lightly as well, I think this is a must-win for Manchester City. So I do think De Bruyne probably starts. And if he's not match fit for the FA Cup final, I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually benched tomorrow. So let's see. Just like he was in the semi-final as well. Jared Bowen has actually been in decent form. He hasn't blanked for the last 4 game weeks. In that time period, he scored 3 goals and supplied 2. So, as mentioned, Forest actually posting the 3rd worst XG conceded numbers over the last 7 game weeks. So, let's hope for a combination of Wan-Bissaka and Bowen for the 3rd game running. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Morgan Rogers will serve as my Watkins cover, as I will not be taking a hit to remove my current triple up, and also want to arrive with 2 free transfers next week. I also don't believe Watkins is captain material, given that he's usually a one and done type of guy. So I'll be watching tonight, rooting against him, but cheering on Morgan, of course. Morgs, we own him for game week 1. And he actually has a team leading 31 chances created in home league games this season, along with the 2nd highest number of shots in the box. So let's hope for some Rogers returns and a Watkins blank. That'd be great. Starts the weekend, wouldn't it? Alexander Isak is the 2nd highest transfer out this week, with only Omar Marmoush being dumped more times. Seems fairly harsh if you ask me. I mean, I assume most are jumping straight onto the Watkins wagon from Isak. The Strikers are in similar form, with Isak blanking 3 times in the last 8 game weeks. Watkins has actually blanked more times in the same period and placed easier teams. And of course, a rotated Tottenham is a decent opponent, but I don't really buy this idea that Tottenham are just going to lay down and be beaten, right? Obviously, they've been terrible this season due to their injuries, really, among other things. Whereas United have been rubbish because of Amram, but that's another conversation. Anyway, they don't really concede loads of goals, and I mean, Arsenal don't really concede that many goals, and obviously, Everton is a great game on the last day of the season. So I think Isak is a good hold. I actually need to be selling Mateta next week as well. That's another reason why I won't be selling Isak this week, because I need to sell Mateta next week, and I want to sell De Bruyne to an exciting midfielder. So I need the free transfers. So let's hope that Isak scores in the loss this weekend, so Arsenal secure 2nd while I get my FPL points. That way everyone's a winner. So sounds like a plan to me. Then Matheus Cunha disappointed me last week. I brought him in for a hit, and he got a grand total of 0. So kind of owes me some points. Of course, he was actually playing well in the game in terms of creating chances and shooting opportunities, but he also could have been sent off. So I understand why he was taken off before the hour mark. So let's hope for starts in the road trip to a Palace side that is most likely going to be reeling from defeat and rotate, or overjoyed with victory and the party still going by the time that Wolves roll in. So that's the team for this week. As I mentioned, we're not going to be making any moves. We want to arrive with 2 free transfers and have a greater scope of what we can do on the last day. So that's my team for the week. Drop any questions you have into the comments. Of course, the deadline is today at 6 p.m. UK time, so make sure that your team is set, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching.